Your body is fighting a battle you can't see. Right now, as you watch this video, thousands of people are trapped in an endless cycle of illness, and modern medicine can't explain why. These aren't just random health issues. There's a deeper, darker force at work, and it's been targeting humanity since the dawn of time. We're about to expose the hidden truth about chronic illness that doctors won't tell you, because they don't understand it themselves. This isn't just another health video. What you'll learn in the next few minutes will transform your understanding of why you're constantly getting sick, and more importantly, how to break free from this spiritual warfare targeting your physical body. In this revelation, you'll discover the ancient wisdom that explains why some people can't seem to stay healthy, no matter what they do. You'll learn the real reasons behind those unexplained symptoms, constant fatigue, and recurring illnesses that seem to defy medical explanation. This knowledge has been suppressed for centuries, but today we're pulling back the veil. By the end of this video, you'll understand the invisible forces weakening your body, and you'll have the weapons to fight back. Your journey to true healing starts right now. Through countless generations, sacred texts and ancient civilizations spoke of a profound truth, one that modern society has forgotten. Spiritual warfare isn't just a concept, it's an ongoing reality that directly impacts physical health. From Egyptian healing temples to Native American medicine men, every major civilization recognized that illness often stems from spiritual battles. Ancient healers didn't just treat symptoms, they saw beyond the physical realm. They understood how demons specifically target the body's vital force, creating weakness that manifests as persistent illness. These wise ancestors documented specific patterns, unexplained fatigue, recurring infections, and mysterious ailments that seemed to resist all traditional remedies. Hidden within recovered scrolls and tablets lies evidence of sophisticated healing practices that combined physical treatment with spiritual warfare. Greek physicians prescribed not only herbs but also spiritual cleansing rituals. Chinese medicine mapped the intersection of spiritual energy and physical health through meridian systems. These weren't mere superstitions, they were battle plans against forces that drain human vitality. Most fascinating are the detailed records from monasteries and healing centers across different cultures, all describing identical patterns of attack. Warriors of faith documented how demons specifically target the body's energy centers, creating vulnerabilities that modern medicine labels as chronic conditions or autoimmune disorders. Sacred texts reveal that certain times of year, specific locations, and particular life circumstances make people more vulnerable to these attacks. Ancient healers developed complex systems to identify when a person's illness stemmed from spiritual warfare rather than purely physical causes. They recognized that treating only the body while ignoring the spiritual dimension was like bandaging a wound while leaving the attacker's sword in place. This ancient wisdom wasn't lost, it was deliberately obscured. As society embraced pure materialism, these crucial insights were dismissed as primitive superstitions. Yet those who maintain these traditional practices continue to witness profound healing that modern medicine struggles to explain. Mysterious illnesses strike without warning, defying medical explanation. Blood tests come back normal, X-rays show nothing unusual, yet something is clearly wrong. These aren't random health issues, they're calculated attacks from an unseen enemy determined to drain life force and spiritual energy. Most revealing are patterns that emerge during spiritual warfare. Intense fatigue hits suddenly, without physical cause. Sleep becomes disrupted by vivid nightmares or unexplained waking between 2 and 4 a.m. Ancient texts call this the hour of demons. Chronic pain moves mysteriously through the body, evading diagnosis and treatment. Particularly telling is timing of these attacks. Major life decisions, spiritual growth periods, and moments of potential breakthrough often trigger sudden, inexplicable illness. Important meetings get derailed by sudden migraines. Career advancements are blocked by mysterious health crises. Relationship milestones coincide with unexplained physical breakdowns. Mental and emotional symptoms accompany physical attacks. Overwhelming negativity clouds thinking. Uncharacteristic depression appears without cause. Anxiety spirals out of control despite no clear trigger. These psychological warfare tactics aim to weaken resolve and break spiritual resistance. Throat problems manifest when truth needs speaking. Chest pain coincides with emotional or spiritual wounds. Digestive issues arise when life requires difficult decisions. Each attack targets areas connected to spiritual growth and purpose. Relationships often suffer during spiritual attacks. Isolation increases as illness limits social interaction. Misunderstandings multiply as mental clarity decreases. Support systems weaken precisely when they're needed most. This calculated strategy aims to cut off spiritual nourishment and encouragement. Most significantly, conventional treatments provide only temporary relief. Medications lose effectiveness over time. Symptoms return despite following medical advice perfectly. Traditional healing approaches fail because they address only physical manifestations while ignoring spiritual root causes. Physical illness becomes a smokescreen for spiritual warfare, but recognizing these attacks is the first step toward mounting an effective defense and reclaiming both physical and spiritual health. Nighttime brings more than just darkness. It opens a gateway for spiritual warfare that targets physical health through sleep disruption. Ancient wisdom recognized sleep as sacred, vital for both physical restoration and spiritual protection. Modern research confirms what spiritual warriors knew centuries ago. Disrupted sleep devastates health on every level. Dark forces specifically target sleep patterns because rest represents vulnerability. During deep sleep phases, spiritual defense is naturally lower, while bodies focus on healing and restoration. This creates prime opportunities for attacks that manifest as nightmares, sleep paralysis, or mysterious awakenings that leave unexplained exhaustion. Most concerning are repeated patterns of disruption between 2 and 4 a.m. Sacred texts across cultures identify this time window as spiritually significant. When negative forces reach peak strength, victims of spiritual attack consistently report jolting awake during these hours, hearts racing, often following dreams filled with spiritual warfare imagery. Physical symptoms intensify during sleep attacks. Night sweats occur without fever. Muscles ache without physical exertion. Morning brings bone-deep exhaustion despite seemingly adequate sleep hours. These symptoms create a vicious cycle. Weakened bodies become more vulnerable to further spiritual attacks. Sleep disruption affects mental clarity and emotional stability. Decision-making suffers. Memory becomes unreliable. Mood swings increase as sleep debt accumulates. This mental fog provides perfect cover for increased spiritual warfare, as victims struggle to maintain clear thinking and spiritual awareness. Bedroom spaces often reflect spiritual battlefields. Unexplained cold spots appear. Electronic devices malfunction mysteriously. Pets show unusual distress or alertness. These environmental signs often precede intense nights of disrupted sleep and spiritual attack. Critical healing processes break down without proper sleep. Immune function weakens. Hormone balance disrupts. Inflammation increases. Each physical deterioration opens new vulnerabilities for spiritual attacks, creating devastating downward spirals in both physical and spiritual health. Breaking this cycle requires recognizing sleep disruption as spiritual warfare rather than mere insomnia. Physical treatments alone can't resolve attacks targeting sleep. True healing demands addressing both physical and spiritual dimensions of sleep disturbance, restoring this sacred time of restoration to its proper protected state. Spiritual armor develops cracks long before physical symptoms appear. Like water seeping through tiny fissures in a dam, negative forces exploit these weaknesses until defenses crumble completely. Most dangerous are breaking points created by prolonged negative emotions. Bitterness, unforgiveness, and deep-seated anger act as corrosive agents against spiritual protection. Unresolved trauma creates significant vulnerabilities. Past hurts, especially those buried deep within consciousness, become entry points for attacks targeting physical health. These wounds manifest first as emotional instability, then progress to physical symptoms that doctors struggle to diagnose or treat effectively. Pride stands out as particularly dangerous. It blinds people to their own spiritual vulnerabilities while simultaneously weakening their defenses. Ancient wisdom consistently warns about pride's role in creating breaking points that leave both body and spirit exposed to attack. Modern society's emphasis on self-reliance only amplifies this dangerous weakness. Fear-based decisions dramatically weaken spiritual armor. Each choice made from fear rather than faith creates new cracks in protective barriers. Constant worry, anxiety about the future, and persistent dread act like spiritual acid, eating away at defensive shields until physical health begins deteriorating. Social isolation often precedes major breaking points. Humans need spiritual connection through authentic relationships. When isolation increases, whether through circumstances or choice, spiritual armor weakens significantly. Physical symptoms frequently emerge shortly after periods of intense loneliness or disconnection from supportive community. Neglected spiritual practices create widespread vulnerability. Regular prayer, meditation, and spiritual reflection strengthen natural defenses. Without these practices, protective barriers thin gradually until even minor attacks cause significant damage to physical health and emotional well-being. Most critically, doubt and skepticism towards spiritual reality create massive defensive gaps. Modern materialistic thinking dismisses spiritual warfare as superstition, leaving people completely unprotected against very real attacks. This blindness to spiritual dynamics allows negative forces to operate unopposed, creating health problems that seem to defy logical explanation. Breaking points rarely develop suddenly. They grow through patterns of choices, beliefs, and behaviors that gradually weaken spiritual protection until physical health begins failing. Recognizing these patterns becomes crucial for maintaining strong defenses against forces targeting both body and spirit. Modern medicine excels at treating symptoms while missing profound spiritual warfare happening beneath physical illness.
Countless patients shuffle between specialists, accumulating prescriptions and diagnoses, yet never finding true healing because treatment focuses solely on bodily symptoms while ignoring spiritual root causes. Particularly revealing are cases where medical tests show nothing wrong despite severe symptoms. Doctors label these psychosomatic or stress-related conditions, unknowingly acknowledging spiritual attacks they're not equipped to recognize. Patients suffer deeply, told their symptoms are all in their head when actually facing warfare beyond physical realm. Medical science remains blind to patterns clearly indicating spiritual attack, multiple organ systems failing simultaneously, symptoms that move mysteriously through body, conditions that worsen despite perfect adherence to treatment protocols. These signs point to warfare targeting entire being, not just physical body. Research laboratories chase microscopic causes while missing massive spiritual battles. Billions spent studying cellular mechanisms of disease while ignoring ancient wisdom about spiritual dimensions of illness. This materialistic approach treats human beings as mere biological machines, denying sacred connection between physical and spiritual health. Most concerning is modern medicine's reliance on suppressing symptoms rather than addressing root causes. Pain medications mask suffering without resolving spiritual attacks causing it. Anti-anxiety drugs numb emotional turmoil while leaving spiritual wounds untreated. Depression medications alter brain chemistry without healing spiritual breaking points. Insurance companies reinforce this limited approach, refusing coverage for treatments addressing spiritual dimensions of health. Holistic practitioners who recognize spiritual warfare face ridicule from medical establishment. Ancient healing wisdom gets dismissed as superstition despite centuries of documented effectiveness. Hidden within medical literature are cases defying scientific explanation, spontaneous remissions, miraculous recoveries, inexplicable healings. These cases often involve spiritual awakening or warfare recognition, yet medical journals focus only on physical details while ignoring spiritual factors. True healing requires bridging gap between modern medicine and spiritual warfare awareness. Physical treatments play a vital role, but cannot succeed alone against attacks targeting both body and spirit. Integration of medical science with spiritual wisdom offers hope for those trapped in cycles of chronic illness and unexplained health problems. Reclaiming health from spiritual attacks demands warfare on multiple fronts. Physical, mental, and spiritual realms must align for true healing. Sacred ancient texts reveal battle-tested strategies, proven effective across centuries of spiritual warfare. These solutions transcend mere physical treatment, addressing root causes of persistent illness. Prayer becomes powerful medicine when practiced consistently, not casual requests but deep, focused spiritual communion that strengthens defensive barriers against attack. Morning prayer especially builds protection before daily battles begin. Evening prayer cleanses accumulated negative influences before sleep's vulnerable hours. Fasting breaks chains of spiritual attack through physical discipline. Ancient warriors of faith recognized fasting's power to sharpen spiritual awareness while strengthening bodies against demonic influence. Modern research confirms fasting's benefits for immune function, unknowingly validating this ancient spiritual practice. Sacred music creates protective frequencies that disrupt negative forces. Worship songs, hymns, and spiritual chants generate powerful vibrations that strengthen both physical and spiritual health. Playing such music, especially during sleep hours, establishes protective sound barriers against nocturnal attacks. Physical spaces need regular spiritual cleansing. Salt baths remove negative energy accumulation. Essential oils mentioned in ancient texts, frankincense, myrrh, sage, purify air and strengthen spiritual boundaries. Keeping sacred objects or scriptures nearby reinforces protective barriers around living spaces. Community connection provides crucial spiritual reinforcement. Isolation makes perfect targeting for spiritual attacks, while authentic spiritual fellowship strengthens collective defense. Regular gathering with like-minded believers creates powerful protective networks against negative forces. Mindful movement practices, sacred dance, tai chi, yoga, integrate physical and spiritual healing. These ancient traditions strengthen bodies while aligning spiritual energy flow. Regular practice builds resilience against attacks targeting body-spirit connection. Most powerful remains steadfast faith combined with decisive action. Healing manifests through unwavering belief backed by consistent spiritual practice. Protection grows stronger through daily habits that align physical health with spiritual warfare awareness. Victory over spiritual attacks requires patience and persistence. Initial improvements may seem subtle, but consistent application of spiritual solutions gradually restores both physical health and spiritual strength. Through dedicated practice, bodies become fortresses rather than battlegrounds in ongoing spiritual warfare. Health challenges plaguing countless lives go far deeper than modern medicine recognizes. Throughout this revelation, ancient wisdom has illuminated profound connections between spiritual warfare and physical illness. These aren't mere theories or superstitions. They're battle-tested truths proven effective across centuries of human experience. From ancient civilizations to modern times, patterns of spiritual attack remain consistent. Unexplained illnesses, mysterious fatigue, recurring health problems that defy medical treatment. Each symptom points to warfare happening beyond physical realm. Recognition of these patterns marks first step toward true healing. Sacred texts preserved crucial knowledge about body-spirit connection. Ancient healers understood illness as spiritual battle manifesting in physical symptoms. Their wisdom, nearly lost in modern materialistic thinking, offers hope for those trapped in cycles of chronic illness. Through their documented experiences, clear solutions emerge. Sleep disruption reveals itself as primary battlefield in spiritual warfare. Those mysterious 2 a.m. awakenings, unexplained exhaustion despite adequate rest, night terrors and sleep paralysis. Each disturbance signals calculated attacks targeting vulnerable sleep hours. Protecting sleep becomes crucial for both physical and spiritual health. Breaking points in spiritual armor create entry paths for attacks targeting physical health. Unresolved trauma, buried emotional wounds, pride's dangerous blindness, fear-based decisions. Each weakness allows negative forces to penetrate defensive barriers until illness manifests. Recognizing these vulnerabilities enables proactive protection. Modern medicine's limitation lies in treating only physical symptoms while ignoring spiritual warfare. Endless prescriptions, countless specialists, diagnoses that explain symptoms without addressing causes. True healing requires expanding beyond materialistic approach to include spiritual dimension of health. Solutions combine ancient wisdom with spiritual warfare awareness. Consistent prayer builds protective barriers. Fasting strengthens spiritual resilience. Sacred music disrupts negative forces. Physical spaces need regular spiritual cleansing. Each practice contributes to comprehensive defense against body-spirit attacks. Most crucial remains unwavering faith backed by decisive action. Victory over spiritual attacks demands patience, persistence, and daily practice. Through dedicated application of spiritual solutions, bodies transform from battlegrounds into fortresses of health and vitality. For those watching who resonate with these revelations, who've experienced unexplained illness, mysterious symptoms, or health challenges defying medical explanation, know this battle can be won. Ancient wisdom combined with spiritual awareness opens paths to healing modern medicine can't provide alone. Take action today. Begin implementing spiritual solutions alongside physical treatments. Build protective practices into daily routines. Strengthen spiritual armor through prayer, fasting, and sacred music. Create environments that support both physical and spiritual health. This journey toward true healing starts with single step, recognizing spiritual warfare's role in physical illness. Each practice builds upon others, gradually restoring health across all dimensions of being. Through consistent application of these ancient truths, freedom from chronic illness becomes possible. Support others on similar healing journeys by sharing this vital information. Hit that like button to help more people discover these crucial truths about spiritual warfare and physical health. Subscribe to our channel for more revelations that bridge ancient wisdom with modern healing needs. Turn on notifications to never miss future videos exposing hidden truths about health, healing, and spiritual warfare. Together we'll build community of warriors equipped with knowledge to fight battles targeting body and spirit. Remember, illness isn't always just physical. By recognizing spiritual warfare's role in health challenges, true healing becomes possible. Take first step today. Implement these solutions. Share this knowledge. Join growing community of people reclaiming health through spiritual warfare awareness. May divine protection and healing grace guide each person watching toward complete restoration of body, mind, and spirit. Until next time, stay strong in faith and persistent in practice. Victory over spiritual attacks awaits those who combine ancient wisdom with unwavering belief in power of true healing.